Thank you very much for the invitation. And I think that this dual or cooperative education, using a better English word of dual education, or duale Hochschule, this name is better known, and I think that we should stick to this as a sort of trademark. Before we go into more of the details of the experiences what Hungary gained during the last so far 4, 5, 6 years concerning the cooperative or dual education, I would like to highlight what are the points which made it necessary to introduce this form as well. Traditionally, the Hungarian higher education system is very much theory-oriented. That means that students leaving the university, they had well-founded theoretical knowledge, but they were far from the practical experiences. Of course, it depends on the fields, but that was one of the critique of the industry since the beginning. I started my engineering career, university career in 1992, and since then I was involved always from the university side and also from the company side in this kind of discussions, and this critique went on. There were other issues which were raised by the industry that Hungarian students, when they enter to the company, they are missing several soft skills like project management, soft skills like negotiation training, like cooperation. This was also one of the points where we wanted to respond. Of course, there are reasons for that. Why was it so? In Hungary, contrary to other countries, especially to Germany, the university career is still rather closed in the sense that students from the university remain at the university and they build up their career, and this is not very typical that having longer industry experience, like 10, 15, 20 years, experts from there coming to the university and continue their activities. That, of course, leads to the fact that even if the teacher or professor does not have that skill, what does it mean to work at a company? What does it mean to approach problems differently than in the university environment? Of course, you cannot expect from them that they will also give it further to the students. So these were the reasons what we identified that led to the introduction of this special education form. In general, we always get the critique from the industry, from the companies, that the universities in Hungary, although I think that that's a discussion all over Europe, does not respond to the demand of the labor market. This continuous discussion, what is better to have the students or to let the students leave the university with more general knowledge or more robust knowledge and not looking at the specifications, and they will learn at the labor market what they need to learn for that given specification, job or company, or to let the students go in a way that they will have also a solid background or solid platform for the practical education. Of course, you cannot learn everything at the university, but you can tend towards of this requirement. So these were the reasons what we started to do. There were, of course, many other points when we started this. We can call them as a reform, or we can call them as modifications in direction of the Hungarian higher education system. But one of the most important points was really this: to bring closer to the universities, to the labor market, and also the requirements from the labor market must be heard at the university and also put into the curriculum. You can see this nice picture here. This is the, let's say, logo of the higher education strategy, but you can find on the internet also in English. So if somebody has interest, you can read it. As I said, besides many other elements, when formulating the strategy for the first 2 years, we defined roughly 70 different actions which were partially realized already or which are in the realization. And one of these actions is the implementation of the dual education scheme, also at the Hungarian universities. Basically, the idea, I'm going to come back to that point, we gained from the Baden-Württemberg, Duale Hochschule Baden-Württemberg, Württemberg. When we understood what that model means, we realized that this model one-to-one cannot be implemented in Hungary. But the essential parts, why is it called as a dual education? Dual education means not only that the university and also the company teaches the students. Dual education means that after one theoretical, let's say, block or semester at the university, will be followed immediately by an implementation phase at the company. So this makes it dual education. This is what Baden-Württemberg University does. So basically, this was the first point. Second point, what we needed to decide: do we need to have anybody, any organization which controls the introduction and further on the operation of this dual education system? Mr. Rudnai is the president of the Dual Training Council, which was implemented in order to describe the strategy, control the development of the system, and also make the accreditation of the companies which were not in the original program. What were the expectations of the industry? As I already said, the too strong theoretical background should be added some practical know-how that the students, when they leave the university, they can also start their engineering career rather soon. There is a thumb rule: if a newcomer from university enters into a company, roughly their integration costs within the company until he will reach the efficiency of the other colleagues is cost about the same as the university education. So it means that if we spend amount X during the bachelor courses, then the company is going to spend roughly the same amount for the integration. So that's a fact, and this is what even if we talk about a normal university without dual education, also it takes time. So it can take also for a new engineer at the company 1, 2, 3, 4 years until he reaches the required efficiency. Abilities and skills which are expected by the companies, this is normally not taught at the university. So project management, okay, in a certain way it will be taught, but not practiced enough. That was also one point, and also the up-to-date know-how of the given field that must be also somehow provided. Knowing, of course, that today the world develops or changes so quickly. That knowledge with which we leave the university most probably is out of date and we need to learn it, but the ability to learn, that's very important, and the ability to learn in this environment, it is a very important point. Of course, the industry, without the industry's commitment, such a system cannot be realized. The situation is somewhat similar, like the German industry had at the beginning of the 70s when the Berufsakademie was established in Baden-Württemberg. The commitment of the Hungarian industry was rather clear. If the government, if the universities are going to establish this form, then the industry is going to add his part. What does it mean? One element is the training. It's very important to understand this is not a traineeship program. This is not an internship. This is a normal education which runs at the company. So it means that the company must build up those resources, that experiences, that structure that is able to educate the students similar way as the university. This was one element that we now talk about university curriculum, and we also talk about the industry curriculum. The government helped quite a lot for the companies to develop this, let's say, industry curriculum involving almost everything. Also, the other commitment from the company side that this is not a project. This is not a project which lasts until we reached the level of the trained manpower and then we are going to forget it. This is a long-term commitment, saying that the industry is involved in this, even if he does not require so many students. What they will educate, because it's also good if these students go to the competitor, go to the supplier, go to some other companies, but remain training in that environment. Also, it costs money. Not only the education part. The students in Hungary, they get a salary, a sort of salary. It's not a stipendium because the student has a special student working contract, so he's employee of the company as long as he takes part in this dual education program. This was also a very important commitment from the company side, and you will see the results later on that how the companies fulfill this. As I said, we looked at the Baden-Württemberg system, how the management of the company's abilities will look like in Baden-Württemberg. The university there, they have internal processes to select and accredit the partner companies. In Hungary, we saw that we will do it a little bit different. Besides the normal Hungarian National Accreditation Board, who accredits the university curriculum, we also defined a new board which deals with the accreditation of the industry curriculum and takes care of the system development and also takes care of the accreditation of the partners. From student point of view, it's quite important, and also this organization has a very important role. This is the sharing of the lessons learned and the best practices. So the body is able to do that. I'm not going to read it, but you can see here that who are the members. This structure of the members corresponds to the currently available curriculums, technical fields, economic, social field in the meantime. That's what we wanted to build up here. So experiences, I think that I will explain it instead of the professor, but this was what we have taken as an example, and I can say we copied it, but copying with the necessary modifications. I think that's a very important point here. There are different schemes for dual education. Alone in Germany, there are 4 or 5 different forms. Anything is good. Anything is good as long as we follow the idea. Dual education means after theoretical part comes an implementation part of the company, and the job is somewhat distributed between the two parties, the university and the industry. But of course, we need to look how can we apply it the best way in the given country. These are the results. I'm not going to talk too much about that. I would say that's a success story. What you see here as the number of the students at the Duale Hochschule Baden-Württemberg increased during this relatively short time period. When I was surprised, and at the beginning for me it was difficult to believe that how comes that only one single university, here this is the picture below, has over 10,000 different partners for dual education. In the meantime, I'm not surprised anymore. In Hungary, which is our industry size is a little bit smaller than in Baden-Württemberg, we have also over 1,000 industry partners, which means that this figure is quite valid. This gives the basis for the job sharing between the university and the industrial company. Of course, as far as the theoretical knowledge is concerned, that's a part of the university. It's also important that the university does not only the theory. The university has also practical sides, but which is related to the theoretical elements. Normally, at the company, there are four different blocks which runs in the education. The first block is the implementation of the theory into practice. Take an example: the Navier-Stokes equations taught at the university, but how to apply them in a real environment? The computation of fluid dynamics is shown at the company. So this is the way. So there is a theoretical part at the company as well. The second part are the soft skills. Soft skill means here everything what besides of the practical and theoretical know-how you need to be able to work in a certain environment. Here the companies are better, quite simply because they have all the surroundings of the environment where they can show to the students, and where they can educate this part as well. There is a technical or practical part. This is the technology which is owned by that company in general or in specific. This is the third element, and the fourth block is the let's say the project work. the students will be, of course, involved in actual project works when they reach a certain level. So these are the 4 elements normally of the company's curriculum. The structure of the education, as I mentioned, here it is shown very well in the middle. What does it mean, the dual education? Here, the University in Baden-Württemberg is, let's say, lucky because they have only dual education. This was made us a headache how to realize this at a university where we have also normal students, not only dual students but also normal students. The 12 plus 12 week scheme in a semester, that's what we tried to map somewhat in our structure. So, the first experiences when Daimler Chrysler came to Kecskemét in 2008, they started to demand that they would like to have something similar structure like in Baden-Württemberg. Then the Kecskemét college at that time contacted the University of Baden-Württemberg. We understood how the system works and started with the implementation. In the first year, it was just a pilot project. In 2012, we only had 25 students for 2 companies, Knorr-Bremse and Daimler. Out of the 25 students, 24 graduated within 3.5 years. So, as normally, proceeding with the university processes. Currently, this university has 175 students, and I don't know what is the current figure from this year. It will be clear rather soon. Also, we understood that the dual education form is a very good tool to fulfill the requirements of a city or region or a community if there is no access to higher education. But the community wants to have it, then it is much easier to establish the new form in the dual form. Take an example. Szombathely is a city in West Hungary, but with very, very significant industry. And this industry had always the problem that if somebody, a student who was born in this region, if he goes to Budapest or Győr, they will never go back. That means that there will be no engineer there. And then we said, okay, let us think how can we bind the students to that city, to that region, to those companies. And the trivial solution was, okay, let us establish there first what we did, it was the mechanical engineering the curriculum, but we run it only in dual education form. That means that the companies it's always difficult to build up a new university education, especially if it is not, what should I say, not marketing. Marketing does not require like engine test bench and those kind of things. Mechanical engineering that needs these kind of things. So it's much easier to build it up if the company is supporting it and if the company take the students as a dual student. This was rather successful. Within 1 year, we could reach that 80 students were enrolled in this city for an existing university's education form, but all in dual form. And the companies, they made a long-term commitment. They said every year they are going to take at least 50 students in this dual form, regardless what is their actual or future demand for labor. So it means that the dual education is not only from the essential point of view is good, but also it's a good tool to develop according to the demand of the community. As I said, we needed to think a little bit at how to modify the dual scheme, this 12 weeks semester, 12 weeks practice, and fit it somewhat into the current education form. Currently, there is no only dual institute or university in Hungary. I hope that one day we are going to have at least one, most probably two, for this education. But currently, the dual education runs in the same institute where the normal curriculum runs. That's why we made the decision. Let us divide the year into a different form. For the dual students, the first 12 weeks from September until then end of November, they will spend it at the university. We modified the curriculum in a way that mostly the theoretical part will be taught during these 12 weeks, and after the 12 week, the dual students, they go to the company, and the normal students, they remain at the university, and they will be taught at the different things what we moved to the end. Then they stay at the company for 8 weeks until end of January. So this is the end of the examination period. By the way, they need to make the exam during this time. They come back to the university again, beginning of February. Again, they will stay 12 weeks at the university, and then from the end of May until the end of August, they will spend their time at the company. So with this, we set 27 weeks at the university, or 26, 27 weeks at the university, and the rest of the year they spend at the company. So roughly, we reached not exactly the 50-50, but 55 and 45 share between the university time and the company time, and it seems to work. As you can see, the students work much more than the normal students. They have 4 weeks holiday, but in the rest of the year they are either studying at the company or at the university. The students, it's not a surprise, but very much motivated, especially from the first pilot project in Kecskemét. We gained quite a lot of experiences. They see this education form as very valuable because of the company part. Of course, the university was always there, but they see that they learn everything at the company with which they will be able to start their career immediately. And of course, long term, they see many other positive things, better employment and so on. That was the basic target. After the pilot project in 2012, according to the Education Act, we started this education form already controlled and described in 2005. In the first year, we started with 200 companies and 440 students, which we expected a little bit more, but nobody knew exactly that what does that mean. So that's why the companies were a little bit hesitating. Nevertheless, here in the structure, we could see that where we have problems, most of the students, almost 60%, they were taken as engineers, so like technical sciences. Significant portion was economics, also informatics, and we also had agricultural students. You can see here on the left-hand side, you can see the number of the students. How is that distributed among these 4 fields? On the right-hand side, you can see that how the universities or what courses the universities advertised. As I said, from the student side, the results are good. Out of the 25 in the pilot project, 24 graduated within a normal pace. So they were not repeating any semester. Well, the structure doesn't allow it to repeat any semester. And they were not leaving the university, were not leaving the company. Out of the 25, 1 left abroad. That was the reason that he was dropped out of the program. But 24 graduated within the normal timing. I think that's not different from Germany. In Hungary, we have at the normal university roughly 25-30% dropout during the normal studies. Here, the dropout is virtually zero so far. We will see what happens afterwards. There are several reasons. Once the motivating environment, but we have also reasons that the student contract sets requirements both for the company and also for the student. And both of them, they have to fulfill it. It's a normal contract. And of course, it improves the attitude of the students. I mean, whether it's bad or not, I don't know. If you are 18, 19 years old, of course you are not looking at the life exactly the same way as afterwards. But this contract controls a few things, and that can be the secondary reason that this dropout rate and also the results, the expectations are motivating the students even more than that know-how what they can gain. It's very important to explain what does it mean, this dual education. We started, well, the ministerium initiated, but of course that's not the task of the ministerium, but the accreditation board. We started a press or marketing campaign as well, and there is a website where we put all the lessons learned, all the information, what is necessary, generated 3 white books. One white book is for the companies. What does it mean to dual education for the company? Second is for the university, and third is for the student. And all the information is available at this website. So far I talked about the first year, 2015 and 2016. We already advertised the second year, 2016 and 17, starting 2016, so this September, basically. And you can see here that it was quite successful. On the left-hand side, you can see the number of the offered positions by the companies. So 555 companies offered almost 3,000 positions for dual education. In comparison to the first year, it's a significant increase, and also the number of the companies increased significantly. From 200, it went up to almost 600. That means that the companies understood the importance, and they understood also the load which is associated with this, because those companies who started to do it, they knew exactly that it's not an easy task. You need to do something with the students. I think many companies can confirm that the investment here is not low. Also, the number of the institutions increased from 19 to 24. It was interesting to see at the beginning that normally the University of Applied Sciences, they offered this kind of courses. But in the meantime, also universities, like research universities, they understood that they can do also quite well here. So they also joined to this club. Another figure, what is not shown here, for these 3,000 positions, over 10,000 students applied. That means that there is a good basis, and we will see that now. We will see that what will be the final result. But I think that this proportion is going to remain. I don't think that we need to talk too much about what is positive in here. Positive things are listed on the left-hand side from the student point of view, and of course from the labor market, generally society point of view. With this structure, we can generate those demands. What is said by the industry. One more point, what was not shown on the chart, the structure of the 555 companies. Roughly half of them are not big companies, not large companies, but SMEs, small, medium enterprises, which is quite important. In Hungary, a small, medium enterprise is really small, like having 20 employees or 30 employees, so not bigger. And of course, for them to participate in this program, it's quite a high burden, because they need to teach the students. That was the reason that we wanted to make their life easier. We allowed that they can cluster themselves. Like the companies, they can cluster themselves, and they can say, okay, of course this cluster makes sense in the same technical field, like similar companies. It's not very different. They can cluster themselves. They can take the students as any other company, but the training of the student, that will be shared. That means that company A, who has good know-how in a given field, is going to teach the students of the others, vice versa. This seems to be a very interesting form. I think that this is already supported and also allowed by the board. Here, the quality is very important. And there is one more very important aspect with this form. There are companies who started to make such a training as a service. Unless these companies have really industrial background, we don't really like it. The reason for that is quite simple. The student during the dual education will not learn only factual things, but he needs to also learn what the corporate identity means, corporate attitude. So he must be hired by a really company who's working. regardless if it's a big or small company. So here we have some more work to do, especially as far as the quality insurance is concerned for the smaller companies. But this seems to be a good way. Normally, the community supports this clustering of small companies, and the results can be as good as from any bigger company. So, and this is just the last chart showing the first 20. I never counted, but I hope it is 24 students who were graduating from Kecskemét, as I said, from Daimler and Knorr-Bremse. So short. It was not a keynote. It's more than a presentation. But thank you very much for your attention.